Today, I want to talk about the main flaws when it comes to developing your habits. So, the first flaw is relying too much on the willpower when it comes to long term results. When it comes to willpower, it is a limited resource, so you don't have unlimited amounts of willpower. And when you rely only on your willpower when it comes to building your habits, at some point you will run out of it, and that's when you can crash. So, the solution is to pretend that you don't have any willpower. Also, focus on narrowing down to the tiniest actions that you can take and tiniest changes that you can make rather than focusing on something huge where you will have to use a lot of willpower to overcome it. So that way, you are building your new behavior brick by brick, and you don't have to use as much willpower to overcome yourself every single day when you do those habits that maybe before you might have set as something huge to do. So, for example, rather than focusing on going to gym for 2 hours a day when you haven't done gym in like months, focus on going for a walk for 10 minutes or focus on doing 15 minutes in the gym um, or just to show up. So focus on showing up to the gym, and that's where you start to build these habits where you don't have to use as much willpower to do the gym for 2 hours every day because at some point you will run out of your willpower. So instead, focus on showing up for the first month and then you can add up. Let's say next month you can do like 15 minutes, 30 minutes minimum, and just work from there. It is important to manipulate with your environment where you don't have as many triggers because then you have to use less willpower. So if you know that you always crave some sweets in the evening, then make sure you don't have them or they are not available to you. Or if you know that if you go to shop for food in the evening that you will buy more unhealthy food, then make sure that you don't go to shop in the evenings, but you go in the morning instead. Now, the second really big mistake that people make is to attempt to take really big leaps instead of baby steps. And I talk about baby steps a lot, and it has been a really big lesson for me when it comes to my habits and building consistency because that was the main reason why I started to actually be consistent because I started with baby steps. We tend to focus on a change as something that is huge or happens overnight rather than something that happens with daily baby steps that you take every single day to work towards that goal. And when you focus on change as something huge or something that happens um, drastically in really short time, you don't focus as much on the fact that you get results by tiny actions that you take day by day when you work towards that goal that you have set for yourself. And also, when you think about this huge change that you want to accomplish, a lot of times you actually start to feel overwhelmed because you think that there's so much to do, so much to get done to get to that goal. But instead, if you focus on the baby steps, that's when you don't feel as overwhelmed because those tiny actions don't feel as big or and also you don't have to use as much willpower to get them done. So instead of focusing on the end, start to focus on the beginning and remember that everything starts with tiny small steps. Focus towards building those steps. And then with time, you will build that momentum and you'll be able to do more and more, and it will feel more natural and will take less willpower because you will be building up this willpower muscle over time. Third mistake that many people do is that they try to stop an old behavior instead of building a new one. So many times people want to stop eating unhealthy or they want to stop smoking um, just to with stopping, going cold turkey. But what happens is that once you go cold turkey and you stop doing those habits, you don't replace the craving that was actually causing those habits in the first place. What you really did was that you told yourself that you're going to deal with the discomfort without knowing how you're actually going to do that because you don't have an actual plan on how to replace this craving that you have when it comes to those bad habits that you might want to get rid of. So the solution is to replace the old habit with a new habit. But you have to keep in mind that the habit that you will replace it with has to be with a reward that your brain can understand. So if you're trying to replace eating sweets with a new habit, you might try to start eating fruit instead. Simply stopping a habit is really tough and really hard. However, replacing it with another one is more productive and more sustainable. Now, the fourth mistake that many people make when it comes to habit formation is to believe that information leads to action. Knowing something does not equal doing something. Just knowing how to build the habits or how to stop habits is not enough because that is not going to lead you to action. What actually is going to bring you any results or any change is you taking action, even if this action is not perfect, which is a really, really important point. So instead of trying to gather more and more information, make sure that you start to apply the information that you have right now. And as you do that, you can keep educating yourself and gathering more information. And also, you will start to learn more from your experience, and you might learn some lessons that you wouldn't be able to learn from books or listening some videos and things like that. This actually was really a big mistake that I made because many times I would be able to know everything inside out. I would know how the habits work, how I need to build habits. But when it came to actually taking action, I was really bad. And I was mistakenly thinking that I had to learn more, I had to understand more, but instead, what I had to do was to start to take more action. And once I started to take more action, I actually was able to learn certain lessons about habits or habit formation or myself that I wouldn't be able to learn if I didn't take action in the first place. Now, the fifth mistake that people make is to focus on changing forever instead of short term. This is really similar to the second one, which was about wanting to make big changes instead of the small ones. However, this mistake is more concerned with the time, not as much the size of the change. And the solution to this is really simple. Don't focus as much on the long term change or how big the change is. Focus on getting better day by day and being present and getting your habits done today. And for this, you have to be really patient. So keep in mind that any lasting and sustainable change takes time, and you have to be patient to actually go all the way. So rather than focusing on how much more you have to go or how far you are from where you want to be, just focus on today and what you have to get done today. Because you can't finish 1 month's habits in 1 week, it's just not possible. And also, it's not as beneficial. When it comes to your behavior and habits, just focus on what you can do in this present moment and go from there. Now, the sixth mistake that people make is that they are after results, not the process. Many times we set out this goal of what we want to achieve, how many pounds we want to lose, how much more money we want to make. And then if we don't meet that goal, the way we perceive it is that we have failed or our effort has been waste of time or it has been worthless. But what you have to keep in mind is that new goals do not deliver new results. New lifestyles do. And I was talking about this in one of my previous videos, where rather than focusing on results, you have to focus on the process because the process is what will actually get you results. You can't get results just by focusing on your goals. So instead, if you want to have any lasting change, you have to focus on the process and you have to focus on changing your behavior day by day until it becomes habitual. And that is how you change not only your behavior, but also yourself. And don't expect to get immediate results. You will not get results in a week or two. It might take you months, if not years, to actually see any big results. But you have to focus on being consistent and don't think about the end. Just focus on this present moment. And the last mistake that many people make is assuming that small changes don't add up. Many times we think we have to achieve big things on a daily basis for them to add up and for us to see results. However, many times what happens is that because you have set a goal to do something big every day, and you have to use a lot of willpower to get it done, at some point, pretty soon you quit. However, when it comes to small changes, they are more easy to implement and also it's easier to sustain them long term. And as a result, you end up actually doing more in the long term. And the consistency is helping you to actually build it to where you become a different person, not just have a different habit. Even if you look at the habits that you have today, the person that you are right now is the result of the habits that you have had over the last few months or years. So build the behavior first and only then think about results. So these are the main flaws that people have when it comes to habit formation. Comment below the one that you have the most and how you are going to take action towards changing it. Thank you for watching and I hope you found this valuable. If you did, please leave a like and subscribe for more videos in the future.